prevention rather than cure, how to identify a rug pull. And we are joined by Abhinav, Sharon, Patrick, and Alice. Give them a round of applause before they begin.
Good morning, NFT London. How are we doing? Good. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the anatomy of a rug, right? So it's something pretty critical. Actually, I'll do a quick poll, right? So from all the people in the room, can you put your hands up if you've bought or minted an NFT? Okay, solid. Okay, now keep your hands up and keep them up if you've never been rugged. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right, you guys are probably going to get rugged, I'm afraid. So it's bad news, but hopefully the panel here can help you prepare a little bit for it. So if we get started, if I can ask the panel to introduce themselves. Sharon, would you like to go first?
Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for coming out early to listen to some of these early panels. Much appreciated. So I'm Sharon Henley, and I kind of have two hats on today. I am Chief Product and Marketing Officer at a company called CoinCover, and we essentially do protection insurance for NFTs, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And also I am part of a group called Rebel Studios, and we're building out Web3 immersive experiences.
Hi, I'm Alice. I'm from Taiwan, and I'm the marketing director for SecuX. SecuX is a blockchain security company, and we specialize in cold wallets, hardware wallets.
Hi guys, I'm Patrick Wagner, and I actually sell rugs for a living, real rugs, so I'm in the wrong place altogether. No, I'm actually with Rug Radio. I'm the head of creators. I don't know if you know Rug Radio. It's on Twitter Spaces. We're the first and largest decentralized media company, and most of my experiences, again, through all this technical security stuff, and it just happens to be a good name coincidence because our entire business started because we get rugged all the time on Twitter.
Amazing. So a really broad, diverse panel, I think, especially for this topic. Myself, personally, my name is Abhinav Gaur. I'm a co-founder of a Web3 social platform. It's a platform, think of it as like Snapchat meets Discord in Web3, right? It's a platform where users earn ownership. So enough about me. Let's get to the questions. So I guess just let's start by framing what is a rug. Maybe you're in the room, actually, sounds like most people have been rugged, but there are lots of different types of rugs. Let's kind of ask the panel, what is a rug to you?
Every time I hear the word rug pull, I always have this really funny image of a bunch of people sitting on a flying rug, and a black shadow pulls the rug from beneath them, and everybody free falling and screaming. And I mean, I guess traditionally a rug pull is a team abandoning the project after the investors get on board and leaving them with devastating losses. But I think nowadays, especially with NFT projects, fake or inauthentic NFT projects, or anything that basically let people buy something with no value or immediately loses value, I think it qualifies as a rug pull.
Yeah, I would follow on with that. So I think we're going to talk a little bit more broad than just rug pulls, because we want to help protect you guys. And so rug pulls is one thing, but so many people are scammed out there, and that could include somebody pretending to be an artist and selling you something which is not actually their copyright to sell you in the first place. It could be the fact that you believe that you're purchasing something and somebody switched out the metadata, which is, somewhat straightforward to do. And also, somebody could have switched out and done a Rickroll, which is basically they've switched out the JPEG. So you're looking at something, you think that you're buying something that looks like X, but ultimately the metadata describes that you're buying something that looks like Y. So not necessarily specifically a rug pull, but there are so many ways that people are getting scammed and, buying things that they think are legit and ultimately are not, and of course, just losing money.
I think a rug pull is anytime you don't get what you expected. So a lot of people believe that the expectations set don't matter, but the reality is it's very much like a stock or security. If I'm telling you I'm going to sell you a black car with 4 wheels and I give you a red car with no wheels, it's not the same thing. It's not what you expected. And so that's very much the anatomy of a rug pull in my mind. There's a difference between what you expected, what you were sold, what was then received, or in many cases, whether it was a planned exit that the money was never going to be used a certain way, or a sudden change because, wow, that 50-50 split on all those profits is not as much as I needed, so we're not going to do this half of the project anymore. And when it's created that way, you really have no control, even though you are the main investors.
So a lot of different ways you can get rugged. And if you've been on Twitter Spaces, that regularly rugs. So lots of rugs. I mean, even hiring developers, anybody in the space, like
Exactly.
it's very creative. People come up with different ways to get rugged. Okay, so then let's talk about kind of a little bit around the psychology. Like, the risks are out there, but why do we keep falling for them? Why are we flies to the light? Why do we keep going into that thing? Patrick, you want to talk a little bit?
Sure, this is actually my favorite part too. I love the psychology behind this because I meet so many different people. It's always almost 100% led by some form of greed, a personal greed. You want to win, you want to make money, you don't want to miss out. That FOMO starts setting in. As soon as that happens, you start taking away your security measures. You start thinking, well, I don't need to use a cold wallet, I'll use MetaMask because it's a free mint that's dropping at 2 a.m. Obviously, everyone does one of those, and I got a random text on Discord, right? It's those kinds of things that force you to think, I got to do this faster. Like Patrick just said, buy this on stage, and you rush and start doing it, not knowing that the Wi-Fi here was hacked, and everybody going to that URL is having everything pulled out of their wallets, right? And it's those types of things, in your mind, if you think you're going to win or there's a shortcut, I guarantee you will lose. So take your time, understand, and I always tell people, get a few folks around you who you trust. So if something pops up you don't know, you can call them and get some actual physical confirmation going, yeah, I checked that out, that actually is good, or I don't know what you're talking about, I've never heard of it, and if you haven't heard of it and you haven't heard of it, stay away.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to FOMO as well, right? You just you see everyone else winning, and you're like, well, they got in early, and if I have my chance, I need to just go get it, otherwise it's gonna run out.
It's all financial knowledge based, right? The more you know the economics of what makes a win, the less you think it's this randomness of hearsay, right? Just like a lot of people getting into stocks, you get into penny stocks first because you hear from other people, this thing's going to the moon, 10 cents to $10, same concept, right? When you don't apply financial knowledge or concepts to these things, it's way easier to fall for all the other mechanics that are set up against you. And these teams are framed and set up to take advantage of this, knowing full well you're out there looking for the 18% APR weekly return on some node. Guess what? I know exactly who the fuck you are. I know exactly how we can take advantage of you. And there's teams all over the world that take advantage of these mechanics in human nature.
Some very large organizations that aren't around anymore that took advantage of them. Okay, so then let's get a little bit more practical. Like, how can we actually avoid rugs, in all their various forms? We talked about why we end up getting there. Tell us a little bit more about, the day-to-day stuff. Sharon, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so we've had some really great talks these last couple of days about how creatives, musicians, artists can sort of be successful in this space. And one of the things that we all keep hearing is about building the community. And so I think that the key, if you're getting into NFTs, is to understand, to do your diligence and research, because you'll pretty much find that all of the artists, musicians, they won't just do a, airdrop just like in that second. They'll build their community. They will let you know it's coming. They're obviously going to try to build up some awareness. I mean, that's what it's all about. They're building a community. And so I don't know any real artists or musicians that will just drop at the last minute. They'll tell you it's coming. They'll get you excited. They'll let you know. So the research is key. And go check out the Discord. Go check it out on Twitter as well. Don't just look at one channel, or ask questions of, hey, did you get this email? And also very basic cybersecurity that you'll do in your real world life, right? all of us get so many scam emails. Go and check the email address. Go and check the URL. Is it actually what you think you're looking at? And stuff still falls through the cracks, right? So personally, what I do is whenever I'm sort of like looking at new NFTs or taking drops, I'll do a fresh wallet. So I know that I've got specific wallets where I move all of my NFTs to or my crypto, and then I'll have a clean wallet if I'm going to do some new drops or something. And that also helps you make sure that people can't steal stuff out of your wallet through a bad smart contract.
Amazing, yeah. It's that, I guess this is going to change over time, but a project not having a Discord and only having a Twitter was at one time seen as a red flag. I think there's been some successful examples that that's not strictly true, but again, it is a red flag, and you should keep. It's actually how I got Rug. My first Rug was a Twitter-only announcement, and I was like, "Yeah, let's go. There's AR filters. This project called Shiba Doodles doesn't exist anymore." But yeah, like people, there was just continuous shouts of when Discord, and it never came, right? And eventually people stopped shouting and just going, okay, it's not coming. So I think that's one of the sort of red flags as well. Alice, do you want to give us some advice as well?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Sharon with the research, because we all know how important DYOR is in this space. And but I would also like to share a few tips on wallet management and how that can keep you from, massive losses. As a cold wallet provider, I would love to say that just get a cold wallet that will solve all your problem. But unfortunately, no, that's only a part of the solution. So there's 3 things I would suggest when you're managing your wallet in not only NFT but also crypto investment. First is to have multiple wallets. You don't want to keep all the eggs in one basket. So separate them out, set up multiple wallets, diversify your portfolio in different baskets, so to speak. So when you have one hacked, you still have all the rest of them with you. The second is, of course, clever use of hot and cold wallets. Never only just use one type of them, but always have, both of them at the same time. Keep your high value and hodl worth assets in your cold wallet, and have the in and out flippers in your hot wallet when for doing quick transactions, because it's convenient and it's free. But the offline nature of the cold wallet will give you extra time. Because it requires extra steps, extra hassle to confirm and verify. It actually gives you opportunities to keep a distance, slow down, and so you have time to probably spot any fishy details in the smart contract before you actually sign the authorization. The third is never give out your private keys, your seed phrase. This is under no circumstance would anybody, any institution, any project will ever need this information from you. So never, ever do that, no matter what people tell you. And always keep cautious and doubtful for anything that's too good to be true.
Okay, so like hot wallets for transactions, cold for storage, high level. How many wallets do you think you have per chain? And not trying to think of across all the chains, but for one chain, how many wallets do you think you'll be using?
Actually, personally, I wouldn't say I have a lot of assets compared to a lot of people here, but I would, keep less than 1,000 in each wallet for my cold wallets. So per chain, I'm not gonna disclose how much I have.
Oh no, sorry, yeah. Sounds like there's lots.
But I would say never to have too much in one wallet, and never have too many chains in one wallet as well.
Okay, thank you. Patrick, could you give us your view?
I would just actually say have a process. It's very much like I tell people, if you are going to get a mortgage for your house, on the way to the bank to sign the papers with your rep, and someone stopped you and said, I got a really good mortgage for you. It's a better rate than the one you're going. You wouldn't be tempted to just turn around and in a side alley sign another mortgage. This is the same type of process. If something is jumping up in your mind like, oh, I got to mint this quickly, or someone DM'd me and said, let's swap this. I have a Bored Ape and I'll give it to you at a deal because I love where you're from or whatever it might be. It's outside of your normal process. So take the time, create a process for yourself, follow these security measures, have different wallets. I usually tell people as soon as you have $1,000 of value, move up to a better wallet. As soon as you have anything over 10,000, even 1,000, you should have a proper cold wallet. And that way you know that your stuff is much safer, it's harder to get to, you can't just instantly transact from there, and that stuff, all of those steps slow you down and force security on you.
Okay, so have a process, kind of do your research, have a process, don't just jump in, right? Sharon, we were talking earlier about sort of credibility when it comes to not getting rugged. Have you got something you can say on that?
Yeah, I think anyone would tell you prevention is better than cure, and obviously, we've been talking about that today, and hopefully there's a tip that you've taken away that you may not have thought about. But ultimately, these things happen to the best of us. So many of you will have heard of Pranksy, and hopefully a bunch of you will have been on the Pranksy bus and had a great art tour of London today or yesterday. But even he has succumbed to being a victim. So a couple of years ago, he thought he was purchasing a Banksy NFT, and he spent a good deal of money on this Banksy NFT. And it turns out that somebody had actually hacked the Banksy website, and Pranksy thought he was buying a Banksy, but it was not a real one. And so sometimes these things happen. And so actually we've been working with Pranksy and NFT boxes to add credibility so that he can support his community, because he's really trying to help people, keep people safe. And what he does is when he mints his NFTs, he will incorporate, or my company will incorporate, this kind of certificate of authenticity to say, yes, this is minted by the real artist, he has copyright. And when that NFT goes around, it's basically insured. So if it gets stolen or corrupted, then his customers will get a cash payout. And we also, though, protect the metadata. So it's with an NFT, you've got the token, and that shows ownership. But then you've got the metadata, which describes the NFT, and then you've got the JPEG, for example, of the piece of art. And it's about protecting all of those elements. And there's a lot of businesses like mine now that come and help artists to add that credibility, to add insurance, so that they can see provenance and they can see the real value as well of the NFT. So that's also really important, that people can see their value. So, go search those sorts of businesses out if you're looking to add some credibility to your projects too, because it's out there.
Okay, so you kind of, if you start to build up some value, start to protect it, look for ways to actually, more formal ways to protect it, so that, even if you do get rugged, which is sometimes unstoppable, so you find a way to stop that. Okay, so we've got a good range of things in terms of kind of advice of how to not get rugged, from having better practice around wallets, from working with trusted parties, from FOMO and avoiding it and not jumping in, to kind of having some backup measures. Now we've got a couple more minutes, so what I will ask as well is if we can go through the panel, and share some war stories. So what personal examples of when you get rugged. Sharon, do you want to go first?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the one that I'm actually going to talk about is where somebody's Twitter account was hacked. So it's also another one like the Pranksy deal. So he thought he was buying a Banksy, but the Banksy website was hacked. And this is like the Azuki founder. So his Twitter was hacked. And all of a sudden, you get this notice to say, hey, I'm doing this airdrop. Come claim your free NFTs. And it came from the legitimate Twitter. And so everyone was clicking, and I clicked 3 times thinking, oh my God, this is great, I'm here, I'm getting my NFTs. And it was a scam. And ultimately, each time I clicked, they stole an NFT out of my wallet. So even if you do due diligence, you think you're talking with the right person, even then you still get scammed. And again, that's about, it goes back to this FOMO kind of, if someone, a famous artist, is just going to do a drop on the fly, it's probably not legit, because they will give you notice. So it's a lesson learned for me.
That one. We're not trying to scare those 3 people that haven't got a rug. We're just trying to make sure you don't get a rug. Patrick, have you got a good example?
Yeah, I get all the war stories. On the way here yesterday, actually, me and my wife were walking around the park, and I got text messages from a very close friend, a big member of the community that got hacked, and they targeted through Discord, were able to get through, wipe some wallets, and then start texting people and doing everything they could to smear their reputation as well. So it's amazingly dangerous from having all these things connected. So know the platforms you live on, take as many security precautions as you can, and I think it's difficult. I'm not saying any of this stuff is overly easy, but the more you have steps and processes, the more you can feel comfortable that you're not going to fall for FOMO, that you're not going to fall for anybody kind of, out there with some sort of an idea. I think the analogies to real life are always important. When you go to the store to buy some milk, you don't go with, 1,000 pounds in your pocket cash and expect not to get robbed. I think if you're doing a financial transaction, you really need to be as safe and secure mentally and make sure you look at everything from that way. Like, you're going to be robbed. You're doing a financial transaction, and then go backwards from there to feel security. And go up from there, rather than think this must be trusted because it came from Twitter. I look at it like everything, I trust nothing at this point, and I got to find those 10 little points that make me feel comfortable enough before I even click on this or look at that. A little tip for everyone: there are safety checking browsers for URLs. Google has one, so you can put URLs into those checkers first, so you don't go to some website that may be created for exact process of either scamming your computer or stealing your wallet.
Yeah, so I mean, there's money involved in the end, so always risk to be managed. But that's our panel. Hopefully they've given you some good advice, and hopefully we're going to make you a little bit more rug-proof. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.